We've got Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, joining us for a look at a couple he's got his eye on. Scott, welcome. Before we get into a couple individual names, let's talk jobless. Let's talk about the numbers that we saw today. A lot of focus on these weekly numbers, and still, again, disappointing to see 1.3 million reporting a job loss.
You know, Ben, it's a real mishmash, and you know, I use that term lightly because, yeah, we're getting 1.3 million. That number is trending down a little bit. To me, the more important number to look at is that continuing claims number, which actually went down significantly this week. It was down almost 700,000. So while that is a very positive trend, it's now, you know, about 18 million, which is still absolutely an unbearable number. While that's a positive trend, I say that with a lot of pessimism and a lot of caution, because we all know in a couple weeks, the benefits from this CARES Act, the extra $600 a week that many people are, you know, benefiting from right now that are getting unemployment, that goes away unless the president and Congress can come up with a new deal here. I really think that we're going to start seeing over the next couple of weeks a spike in unemployment numbers.
Yeah, as does the hold on some of those evictions, and definitely we're hearing about definitely some of the constraints or some of the impact that could have. Let's talk about a few of the names that seem to be shrugging off some of these concerns, broader-based concerns, tech names that are on the move again. The NASDAQ, we just took a look at into new all-time highs. I noticed AMD topping the list there. Some of the other tech names, Microchip. Let's talk AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. Let's talk NVDA. There we have some of the names that are topping the list today, but you have your eye on a couple specific.
Yeah, and I think AMD is the standout. Even though we all know what NVIDIA has done and continues to do, I think AMD is really the standout here. I mean, this thing is on the launching pad. And when I say that, I mean that because, as you mentioned, it is coming up to all-time highs. It's coming up to some major resistance here. If it can break through this kind of 58-ish to 60 area here, I can see this thing hitting 70 very easily sooner rather than later. So it has a big challenge ahead of it right now. But man, oh man, there is just a bunch of tailwinds for AMD and NVIDIA, especially coming out of the gaming space. The gaming space over the last, 3 months or so since the shutdowns, the lockdowns has really propelled these stocks.
Yeah, coming off the March lows, down around 36. They found support recently around 48, around 50. It'll be interesting to see if they can get up above that $60 level in terms of AMD. Let's talk NVIDIA a little bit more specifically because they just posted a new high today up to 420.69. They're trading up on the day by about 2.4%, almost 2.5%. And this one's been on fire here recently, breaking out up above 380. It looks like about 5-6 days ago, and they have yet to look back.
Exactly, Ben. And, what do you do with it right here? What do I do with it right here? Nothing. I do absolutely nothing with it here. I'm scared of it. Scared that it can move another 10%, quite frankly, in either direction in a very short amount of time. However, longer term, I'm very bullish here. Earnings in NVIDIA are about a month away. I think they're set for August 20th. So that's not going to be imminent here, but I would be a buyer on any pullback, especially I had my eye on exactly that range you were just talking about, right around 380.
All right, we've got a couple other stocks you have your eye on that you wanted to bring to our attention, some gamers that are on the move higher. Doesn't look like they're playing around to me, Scott. No. We've got EA Sports up to 138.41 today. They're up 2% right now, breaking out, again, a new high, much like what we were just talking about in terms of NVIDIA. Are you scared of this one?
You know what? I'm not. And here's the reason why, and technicians will love this. If you go back about 2 years on the chart here, almost 2 years, to the date here, EA just filled two major gaps, for those that understand gap trading. One of them was from August of 2018, and one of them was from July of 2018. It's challenging that one right here. If EA continues to rally through that, I don't want to say it's smooth sailing to the upside, but boy, oh boy, you can see where this gets a lot of momentum, that those have been, and it's a 2-year time span. Those two gap areas are some technical resistance that if we get through, this thing is absolutely, in my opinion, moving higher.
All right, something to keep an eye on here on the move. Scott, let's talk about another big name, another gamer that's also posting new highs. You got Take-Two. They just took out two key highs up around that 150 level. They're up on the day around 2% as well. A new high up to 151.17. Scott, Take-Two away.
Nice one. Yeah, breaking out through those highs. Exactly right. That was some major resistance. If you go back a little while to their last earnings report not so long ago, their earnings growth actually declined. However, their revenue was higher. So they have streamlined their business here. This one has taken off, no pun intended, as well. And I think it's moving higher.
All right, we've got a couple gamers on the move here. We've got some big names to watch here. Scott, headed into the end of the week, final thoughts here, and then we'll let you get out of here. PPI, Baker Hughes rig count, I noticed it looked like, again, Fed balance sheet, I think it was. Talk to us about what do you have your eye on in terms of some of the end of the week numbers that we've should be dialed in on. What are you going to be looking at?
Yeah, PPI and the Baker Hughes rig count, though I don't think we're going to see much of a surprise there, one way or the other. PPI, it's one of those pieces of the entire jigsaw puzzle, so nothing that I see that's coming out that's going to be market shaking. I think the market is going to move going into the weekend based on reopening, kind of the same thing that we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks now.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we've seen some declines in producer price index. We actually saw that out of China. We saw that out of Europe recently. Yep. It'll be key to watch what we get here tomorrow in the U.S. Scott, really appreciate you joining us here. Great breakdown in terms of some of the economic data that we should be keeping an eye on. A handful of stocks that you're watching and think we should as well. We're talking tech names, traders with Scott Bauer, and again, we're talking a couple, again, gamers that are on the move. Traders, Scott Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. You can check him out there, and